And now let's turn to how the coronavirus is affecting Arizona. We're seeing a slight uptick in cases compared to last week. 323 new cases are being reported today, along with 18 new deaths. And Arizona is joining a national push to help people who become sick with COVID-19. Operation Warp Speed is an effort to increase convalescent plasma donations, which is used to help treat COVID-19 patients. Team 12's Trisha Hendricks is at the Phoenix Fire Academy with the big role our state is playing. Trisha?
This is where 3 Valley mayors, along with first responders, are going to be meeting with representatives from Vitalant. It's the nation's largest independent blood provider today to talk about this big effort underway happening right here in the Valley. Now, convalescent plasma is the only antibody treatment currently approved by the FDA to help some of the worst off COVID-19 patients. It uses blood from people who have recovered from an illness to help others recover. Operation Warp Speed is being implemented right here because the Phoenix metro area has been designated as one of 14 regions across the country as a previous coronavirus hotspot with a high number of survivors and potential donors as well. This afternoon, there's going to be a socially distanced news conference here, followed by the first convalescent plasma donation from Tempe Mayor and COVID-19 survivor Corey Woods. Donations will then be given from first responders and recovered COVID-19 survivors from a list of agencies: Phoenix Fire and Police, Glendale Fire and Police, and Luke Air Force Base. Now, the ultimate goal in this nationwide initiative is to try to double the number of convalescent plasma donations. In Phoenix, Trisha Hendricks, 12 News.